All right. Hey, we've got a special guest today with us. This is Alberigo with Taking It to the Next Level. He's the founder and owner of it. I'm assuming the president as well. Am I correct in saying that, Allie?
Yeah, pretty much I'm everything when it comes to taking it to the next level at this point.
Well, hey, I want to thank you for being on the call, and I got a hold of Allie because I saw a product of his that kind of intrigued me, and we're going to talk about that and just why it might be a good product for martial arts school owners. And Allie, if you don't mind, I want to take it from the standpoint of where I want you to basically convince me that this is something that I should invest into. And so let's first get it out of the way. And right off the top, it's a retail wonderland. How did you come up with that? And explain to me what retail wonderland is.
Well, yeah, it's called developing a retail wonderland, actually. And the cool thing about it is I've been doing retail to some extent since I was a young child. When I say young child, 15 years old, 16 years old, I had a jewelry company that we'd set up home parties in people's houses. And I'd buy jewelry wholesale, and I had my girlfriend at the time do it. And then I had a whole bunch of other of her friends out there, and we had this whole network of selling jewelry, which was pretty cool. And it was home parties. So since then, I've opened up martial arts schools. In fact, my first school, I was like 17 years old, and I learned about merchandising. But, I wasn't great at it. Then I managed a video store for a little bit of time. My only job, actually, that I actually worked at was being a manager of a video store and retailing and learning how to set things up. And I was always intrigued by that type of business. And then I actually had another girlfriend that I dated, and she actually worked for Macy's as the head visual merchandiser. So I found that intriguing, and I had the opportunity to go with her to some of the stores in the different Macy's locations and see how they set merchandise up and how that made all of a difference. So lo and behold, fast forward to my martial arts schools. I've been open for 23 years. I opened my first school, and I realized that I needed to retail. But I didn't retail it like I would have done all my other businesses. I basically put up the typical karate gear T-shirt that looked more like a billboard for a construction company, the typical patch logo with a phone number, a few sets of fighting gear, and that was it. And then I realized later on that really wasn't cutting it. And I started to really dig into learning how to have a retail operation, started a retail store. ATouchofZen.com is my retail store, which sells on the internet. We have local stop-ins, and we do a huge amount of retail to our, of course, student population. And I've tried to and continue to learn more and more and master the art of retail. So that's where I have this product called Developing a Retail Wonderland, teaching people those steps, the things to do to become great at retailing in their center.
Well, what I like best about the Retail Wonderland, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have you on the call today, was because the fact that you're not just talking about Christmas sales. I mean, what you have done with this it's really a business inside of your business, which it's allowing you to be able to not only sell during Christmas times, but how do you intertwine selling retail into everything that you do, which I found that amazing, because most people are telling us, and right now is the right time. It's moving into November, and we should be thinking about our retail sales for the holidays. But what's unique about, at least I think, what's unique about this program is you've actually been able to intertwine it into everything. And without giving away the farm, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, and Dwayne, that's I think it's kind of interesting. Maybe because I launched this towards the holidays, people are getting a little bit confused that they think it's just about the holidays, and I'm glad that you brought that out. See, I'm trying to teach school owners that they need to understand that retail is a huge part of what they do. And here's the misconception. I think that a lot of school owners are stuck in the traditional way of thought that they don't want to become too commercial, even though we know once you charge $1 for your lessons or you charge $100, you're still commercial. The only difference is one guy's rich and one guy's poor. One school stays in business and thrives and one doesn't. Now, when we sell retail, I have to say I've traveled the world. I'm not bragging, but I've traveled the world anywhere from Ireland, England, Australia, Thailand, Japan, Italy, all throughout the United States, and I've stopped in martial arts schools. And if there's one thing that I could put my finger on and say that there's one thing that's neglected the most and is done the poorest is retail. And people tend to just sell the typical few karate staple items, and they wonder why they hardly make any money. And I'm saying that the majority of schools that I've coached before I started coaching them would maybe make 1% of their gross income. Some of them a lot less than that. And I find that to be sad, because not only, one, do we want to sell things that are good for our students, to keep the kids motivated. Parents could buy them as a reward system, do so many different things. There's so many different functions of why we should sell retail. And a lot of schools are falling short on that. And it's causing parents, and I don't want to make it sound like it's the school's fault, but it's causing a parent to go out to Toys R Us or go to a local whatever shop and try to find a reward, or take their kid to a restaurant, or take them to dinner when they do well on a promotion, or, they do well by coming to all their classes for the month, et cetera, et cetera. So that's part of what I believe that we're missing in the industry, and I think that we need to step up. It's an obligation not only to ourselves as business people, but also as martial arts school owners. We have to do this for our parents of the kids in our school.
Well, let me ask you a question, because often you'll hear martial arts school owners, and of course I believe I was in that category at one time, that I don't want to be perceived that I'm trying to nickel and dime my students and their parents to death. So how do you overcome that facade, if you will, that really is not what's happening?
Yeah, you know what it is? I believe that we create our own destiny, and I'm going to explain this in full, because I have a client that went, totally to the end of having a store similar to mine. He used to have a tiny little retail center, and he turned his lobby into an actual full-scale retail store where people could walk off the street, and he has his retail center. Some parents got turned off by it, like, oh my God, now he's pushing retail on us. Those people eventually got used to it, and then all the new people that come through the door, believe it or not, this is our own issue as school owners. They don't see anything wrong with it. They don't see anything different. Most centers, whether it be a Curves or an I Love Kickboxing, or whether it be a Gold's Gym or any of those places, they have retail merchandise to go along with what they do, and lots of it. And that's absolutely the right thing to do, because we want to keep our clients and our students excited wearing our T-shirts, to feel proud about what they do. Even schools, high school football teams sell Letterman jackets and jerseys and rings and all that other stuff. So I don't see why, as school owners, we always feel uncomfortable that our parents are going to think we're nickel and diming them, that we always think that we're going to hurt our reputation by being business owners. And I find that to be sad. And for those that do feel uncomfortable and they hear a few comments, they have to realize that there's a far and few between of people who feel that way. And once they make it part of their culture, people don't even think otherwise.
Yeah, it becomes second nature or normal to them. And you're right, the individuals that walk in from the street, they don't know any better. They only know what they see, and more than likely they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not looking at, obviously if you make a big transition from nothing to everything, people there are going to go, what's going on here? It's always that way. Change is never accepted. It's always resisted. And, I find that, that people will resist change even if it's good for them, because they're just not used to it. No one likes their foundation rattled, so to speak. So what happens is people get a little bit nervous, a little bit confused. They start making up negative comments and saying things in their head or maybe outwardly. But it's far and few between. It's very, very little of the people. And I'll give you an example. This is interesting because I still have a little bit of that martial art person inside of me where I kind of, feel a little guilty. So we had all these really cool Ninja Turtle toy kits. They're the bigger ones where the kids have the nunchucks and the sai, and the kids get to wear them and play with them, not the little action figures. And I see one of my little guys. His name is Nick. He's an unbelievable martial art kid. He's like 7 years old. He could do kata better than some of my adults. And I see him crying, and his mom's going, "Don't worry, buddy, we'll get it another time." And I really felt bad, and I walked over to the mom and said, "I'm really sorry. I don't mean to have this stuff here to create a riff, and, the kid's going to pester you after every class." She goes, "Are you kidding me?" She says to me, "Are you kidding me? If he doesn't do it here, he's going to do it somewhere else. It's going to be that he's going to want that Ninja Turtle doll from Toys R Us. You're actually saving me a trip of having to drive there." And I was like, whoa. this is amazing, I was starting to fall back into my old patterns, my old anchors, feeling bad. And she set me straight. She said, you know what, I'm going to buy it somewhere else. You think that he's not going to want a toy? Do you think he's not going to want stuff? That's why they call it pester marketing for places like drugstores or supermarkets, where they put all the little tchotchke odds and ends right at the cash out section. Gum, certs, candy, eyeglass fixtures, magazines, because they know that people will pick them up quick and just do it. And they call that pester marketing. We don't create that in our school. We just have things available for our students so that the parents do have the opportunity of rewarding their child or getting them something just because they love them.
And that's phenomenal that she set you straight, because not many people can do that, right? No, just kidding.
It's true.
Now, if somebody, no, it is. Now, if a school owner wants to do something like this, let's say, they believe that finances are a constraint, and what I mean by that is, how do I have this big retail space when I just don't have the money to do it? I mean, what type of advice would you give to start that out?
Well, first off, in my product launch, developing a retail Wonderland, I kind of step them through all the things and the items that I think are good sellable, quick sellable items, so that they're not going to have to go out and research it and test market by buying things that don't work. That's the first thing. The second thing is I also let them know how to do this where they do not have to actually inventory a ton of items. I think that school owners believe in order to have a store or sell retail, they got to spend tens of thousands of dollars and hang it on their wall. They do not need to do that. There's many other opportunities. They can have a retail store that is virtual. It's online. Or they could do everything through catalog sales, which is great because we're actually doing our holiday wish list, which is a part of what we do and what I share with the people who purchase this product. And we literally show them how to use the catalogs from all the different martial arts suppliers to create holiday sales. Now, I had a friend that followed my program last year, and he actually made $15,000 in 3 days, $15,000 in 3 days on retail, which is insane. And, it's just about making it available, doing it the right way, and that's what I do. So that you do not have to spend a ton. In fact, I would suggest to not spend a fortune in having inventory.
So he probably made $15,000. You're saying gross, right? And then so maybe $6,500 or whatever, $7,500.
Exactly.
Net.
You're probably looking at making between 50 to 70% markup. You're looking at marking up some of your items 100 to 200%, right? Or 2.5, the keynote they call it, where you mark up your retail. So if you pay $5 for something, sometimes that item wholesale, depending on the item, of course, you could retail that at $15, $18, depending on what it is. So you can do that without there being price gouging and charging too much, and still being competitive with, especially the way we buy things wholesale in the martial art industry.
Well, and I like how bold you are with the video. I watched your sales video or sales presentation video, whatever you want to call it, it just was very interesting. And, what I saw that really kind of caught my eye is that you basically guarantee your product, right? I mean, if they're not able to make their money back within a certain period of time, you'll give them their investment back, right?
Absolutely, and you know why I believe so much in our product that I say if you don't absolutely make your money back or more than your money back within a certain period of time, and I believe I did 30 days or 60 days or something like that, I'll definitely refund the money. Listen, my goal has always been, and Dwayne, I think you know this, I love coaching, I love helping school owners, and ultimately I want to grow the level of quality through the martial arts, through education, and that's why I do what I do. Yes, I make money on the products that I sell, but I guarantee that the products that I sell they're tried and tested products. It's not something that I'm just coming up with a concept, trying to get it out there to the marketplace and hoping that I can make a ton of money on it, not knowing if it works. These are things that I've done over the last 23 years, to make a living in my schools and make a good living, as well as sharing it with my clients and teaching them how to do it. So it's not a theory, it's not a concept, it's an actual system that works where I make a fortune at it doing it, and I love helping school owners do that, and in turn helping parents and students enjoy their entire I don't know, a concept or training at the martial arts school they attend.
Well, yeah, and you're building an experience into it. I mean, it's not just that they're going to get martial arts lessons. And we all, as martial arts school owners, try to build a culture anyway, the following, if you will, not necessarily, I don't mean a cult, but a culture, that our students take pride in where they're going. And when somebody asks them, where do you go to karate? They say it naturally. They're proud of it when they say it, and everything about them should say it, be it their keychain or their T-shirt or their bumper sticker or whatever. And those are small retail items, but I'm just kind of going along with what you're saying. Can you tell me, anything else that because we want to wrap this up, but can you tell me anything else about the, developing a retail wonderland to our listeners, and then how they can actually, get it?
Well, absolutely. One, I had a quick story, as I had a really great experience with a student of mine. His name is JD. He's the brother of Chris Angel, and Chris Angel is a magician. If you haven't heard of him, he's amazing, and he has a show in Vegas and a TV show, and he has a ton of retail stores in all the different casinos all throughout Vegas. He had the #1 selling magic kit. It actually sold at Bed Bath & Beyond. He did an infomercial with it. But anyway, I was with JD. JD took me on a backstage tour of the retail stores, and he said to me, Shihan, you see your store, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't quite have that brand. It doesn't really get the parents or the students to say, this is really cool. I want to buy into this. I would love to wear a jacket. I'd love to wear a cool shirt with, Long Island Ninjutsu Centers on it. But he made sure that I knew it had to be a cool shirt. It couldn't be just a shirt with a square patch with our logo. It had to be something that someone would wear to dinner, out to a nightclub, hanging out on their first date or going to a friend's house. Something that they feel is cool, and this is where I think we miss the mark. So the first thing is, one, I got a great lesson in retail and branding, and that's important. We can't just pop up racks on the wall and throw stuff on the wall. In fact, I was just at a school not too long ago, and there was probably 2 inches of dust on the clothing. I said to the owner, who's a friend of mine, when was the last time you cleaned this? He says, we clean this every week to a week and a half. He says, the dojo school gets so dusty, and we clean all the time. I said, well, listen, if it gets that dirty in a week and a half, you got to clean it every 2 days. People will not buy items that, and I always make a joke, I'll take that set of fighting gear on the wall right there, less the dust, or a faded shirt that has coat hanger fades because the sunlight, it's been up there that long. We have to retail and merchandise in a way that people will feel like, oh my goodness, this is something that I want to have. I want that item. Anyway, long story short, that's important that people see that. Second thing is, of course, they could either, one, check out my website at takingittoTheNextLevel.com, simply spelled out, or nextlevelfree, FREE.com, simpler way to remember it, nextlevelfree.com. On there, I have my product launches. I have 4 different product launches that I've done in the past that have literally changed school owners' lives. And you could click right on there, Developing a Retail Wonderland, boom, watch my video, and if you like what you see and you like what I'm saying, purchase the product. If not, definitely take the knowledge that you get from what I'm talking about here and what I talk about on the video and incorporate it into what you do. My goal ultimately is always to help school owners and help, business owners and make them more profitable and more successful. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah, and Allie, I know that you're the type of guy that if somebody has a question before purchasing a product, that they can get a hold of you and talk to you personally about it. So how could somebody get a hold of you if they have a question?
There's 2 ways. The one, they could email me. It's simple, Shihan, SHIHAN, @LI, like Long Island, Ninja, NINJA.com. So it's Shihan @LINinja.com. Or honestly, if you really want to, I'll give you my cell number. It's 631-374-6518, 631-374-6518. You could call me at any time or text message me. Tell me you're interested in talking about your school, about your about things that you want, my products, things that you may have questions on, and I'm here for you. I really am. So I'd love to have those 2 opportunities. You could email me or call me. And if you want to call me at my office, you feel uncomfortable calling in my cell, you could call at the office. The phone number there is 1-888-LI, like Long Island Ninja, NINJA, and or 631-321-5432. I think I gave you a lot there. So, yeah, there's many ways of reaching out to me. And anytime, feel comfortable. If you really are a little undecided, call me, and I'll tell you why it's good for you.
All right. Well, Allie, thank you very much. Call our listeners, listen, developing a retail wonderland. You know that I would not present a product to you if I didn't think it was worthwhile. And, hey, it even has a guarantee on it. So take Allie up on it. You can contact him. And if you're listening to this recorded, obviously you can rewind it. And if you didn't get the number, then go ahead and wait for the recording. Or can you give out your email one more time if they want to get a hold of you right now?
Yep, it's Shihan, SHIHAN, @LINinja, NINJA.com.
All right, Allie, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Dwayne,
have a great day, sir.
Always great chatting with you, and I appreciate it. You have a great day. Hey.